and gentlemen, welcome back to another Tier 1 race. This time around Albert Park. AUSF1 is heating up in this championship battle. Very tight overalls. Not as tight at the top as we would like, but the main scene today is the overalls as we race around Albert Park for round 6 here at Tier 1. My name is Ashton, and today I am joined by Botanical Bot. Bot, how are we?
G'day Ash, thank you very much for having me, mate. I'm very excited for this one. Home race for a lot of the lads here, but very easy to lose it on some of the fast corners. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited to get into it. And like you said, there's still plenty of rivalries throughout the points championship. So I'm keen to see how the boys go.
Yeah, obviously a home race, as you mentioned, for a lot of the drivers. They'll be looking to gain some points with the bloke in P2, Campbell Adams. He is out this week, not racing, so his absence, I think, will open up a gap in that podium spot. I think first place will still be occupied by Websy, but that battle for Tier 2, P2 and P3 will be immense. Looking at the leaderboard, you actually notice there is a lot of teams missing drivers. We're on 17 drivers today. We have Haas is missing one, Red Bull is missing one, and then I believe, who else is missing one? VCarb is down to one driver.
Yeah.
VCarb actually atop the overall constructors. They've got a 54-point gap, but then it's incredibly close after that. From second down to fifth, it is a 10-point gap. Aston Martin, Red Bull and Haas tied on 303 points in third and fourth, and then Sauber in P5. Still fairly tight behind that, but they are a little bit more farther off than P2 through P5. So a lot of the drivers here will be looking to clinch some much needed points for their team to help boost them in the overall constructors. But it seems that we already have our first driver making his way to the start line, and that will be Globtrip in that. Don't know how to describe the colour. It's more just blue, like half the cars on this grid, as he flings it through turn 1 on the absolute edge there, very close to invalidating, but he has managed to control it perfectly. Now down into turn 3, locking up a little bit. That helps with his rotation. A slight lift through turn 4. Probably could have used a bit more track, but he still has carried a good amount of minimum speed as he comes down to the fearsome turn 6. Very easy to spin there as we get Potato 101 joining. I believe he will be in the Haas.
Ash, I'm pretty surprised that the Glob didn't invalidate there on turn 1 and 2. That was he's almost lost it and he's gone off. Glob's
He's
lost
off,
it in the chicanes. Yeah, he was really on the edge there. But next one coming through is Tyler in the McLaren. He's looking nice and quick. But he's pinging out a little bit on my screen, but he seems to have held it together. Interestingly to see that Glob was using the medium to hot lap ERS strategy to save all that ERS for the main straights, whereas Tyler's keeping it in a hot lap the whole way. Tyler's gone off probably about 6 or 7 times now on my screen, but he's keeping it on the track and coming across the line. It looks like he'll be the first one with a representative lap time.
Yeah, Tyler, as you mentioned, pinging around a little bit, hot lap all the way, and it's a 16.935. That's probably around what we'll be seeing, maybe a little bit quicker from some of the drivers. I think it could have been a bit of a tighter lap for Tyler, maybe carrying a bit more minimum speed through some of those corners. But for now, the benchmark for the aspiring 17 drivers looking to topple his time is a 1:16.935. The next driver to get their chance seems to be the Aston Martins. Sir Joshie following Zox for that toe. These two seem to be working together quite well over the Tier 1 commentary sessions I have had. They've always been quite close to each other in qualifying, giving each other the crucial toe. Zox will be the first driver to cross the line, but Sir Joshie will have been benefiting from that toe for most of the lap. A 15.6 and another 15.6. Currently a 1-2 for Aston Martins. That is what they need if they want to topple the VCarbs in the overall standings.
That's very impressive from the Astons. I'm running on board with Farmer Sam right now in the Haas. He's looked very, very strong on his lap, and obviously don't be surprised if he gets up there, as Aussie 2K was it, just went up into third place with a 1:16.2. He's looking very strong as well. Farmer Sam now coming through Sector 3 onto the final corner. He'll want to get a good lap time here because invalidating is pretty common. He's using his overtake all the way to the line. Farmer Sam goes in third with a 1:15.7. So looks like those mid 1:15s are what we're going to be looking at. Wouldn't be surprised if as the track grips up, we can see 1:15.5s, maybe even 1:15.4s. But yeah, very, very promising lap time so far as Apollo Pepsi does a 1:16 flat as these guys come across the line.
Yeah, I think someone interesting to watch out for though will be Lebsy, by no doubt the fastest driver on this grid currently, quite a far way clear at the top of the standings, and he's already getting a fairly nice tow on this lap from the Williams. A bit of a cross teaming there. I'm sure Lebsy won't be complaining.
Lebsy,
yeah, he did go a bit deep, but he managed to correct that slide. We could be on 1:14 alert for the end of this qualifying session.
All right, Websy is coming around the final corner now. He did make a mistake, so he's probably going to lose time in that third sector. He's coming up to the line now. Oh, wow, 1:15.4, even with the mistake. So that is definitely the benchmark for the lads to beat. 1:15.4 this early in the session, that is very, very promising. If I was the likes of Apollo Pepsi, Keith, and Aussie 2K, I'd be a little bit worried about that pace because that's almost a second of what those lads put in provisionally.
Yeah, Websy, as I mentioned, far and away the best driver on this grid. And I think he'll only get better if he eliminates those mistakes as the track rubbers up, and maybe with a little tow from a unsuspecting bystander. Cam, he's invalidated, crossing the line now. It is Apollo Pepsi behind him, but he has come into the pits. It is then Nat Hammer coming into the pits as well. And then Verk finally behind him, he was doing it into his run, will pull to the right of that grass strip, go between the two walls and pull into the pit lane.
Just sounded like I was having a little bit of mic trouble. So if anyone listening can tell me if I sound any better, that would be much appreciated.
Actually, I should make sure RLT is up and running. But we might, I think Cam is on an in-lap, he's on none on a straight. So we might stick with Globe Drip. I think he's going on another lap. He's going around, full tank of battery, up into hot lap, DRS open. He will start his lap. Bot, do you want to take us away?
Yeah, please. It would be my pleasure. Sorry, I was just adjusting my microphone a little bit more. Cool. Who are we running on board with? Sorry, Glob, was it?
Yes, Glob Drip.
Glob, beautiful. All right, he's in hot lap. He's got his DRS open. This is a very tricky set of corners here. You don't want to run it out too wide because you need to get over to the other side of the track. And he's lost it. Just a little bit too greedy on the throttle there, but definitely had the right line. Just a little bit too much acceleration too early. So that's tough from Glob. He's already done a few laps, I think, on these tyres. So slightly older set, he'll probably want to come in and change his sets. But by the looks of everybody else, except for Jerry Bot. So Jerry Bot's on a lap here, currently in P11 with a 1:17.026. He's taken it a little bit better here. Can he keep it on the road? Yes, he can. He's played it nice and safe there. Probably didn't use as much of the track as he wanted, but he's got through it, unlike Glob. Coming up now into Sector 2, he's taken that nicely, and he wants to ride that curve. Doesn't want to run it too wide because otherwise you will invalidate. And he's taken this real tight line. You see this a lot in the esports. They don't really take that generic line. They want to keep it as tight to the track as possible. Coming it out, bringing it out to the right here, tucking it in. Wow, that was really quick. He's using full lock to get the car around. He's using a big dump of overtake to get down onto this straight as well. Let's see how deep he'll brake coming into Sector 3. Yeah, he's done that very nicely. Oh, almost invalidated coming out into the left there. You almost want to go flat, and he's lost it again. Oh, that inside curve is especially difficult. You don't want to be touching that. He needs to get out of the way just to make sure that he doesn't take anyone out in the process. But Jerry Bott will be very upset with that because he was looking nice and tidy up until that last corner. Definitely catching a few people out here, Ash. A lot of slippery curves here on the inside.
Yeah, Jared was looking like an amazing lap he was about to string together, taking the step up from around P3 or 4 in the Tier 3 standings to get some solid points, or attempt to get some solid points for the Kick Sauber outfit. But unfortunately, just spinning on that turn 12 curve that I think we'll find catches a lot of people out. Nearly an unsafe rejoin there. Hopefully he escapes unscathed. I reckon Verk might not report him, but I think if it was Apollo, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a report come in.
100%. I'm running on board now with Sir Joshi, currently sitting in P2. He's on his hot lap now again. Zox closely following behind him. Again, it's very interesting to see Joshi, the way that he's using his ERS. He's kept being a medium. Was that an validation?
Yeah, both of them have been
Surely
validated.
It was.
Yeah,
surely it was. They haven't changed their ERS. They're still dumping. At least Zox is. He's keeping it an overtake. So I reckon Zox is still going. Is he?
They've both been validated.
Yeah, now they've been validated. There we go.
Yeah. Just after swapping roles a little bit, last time it was Zox in front with Sir Joshi benefiting from the tow. This time it was Zox's turn to benefit.
Well, let's Ash, why don't we run on board with Websy then, because he's definitely on a hot lap. And looking at his times, he's still pretty consistent with his previous one. He's only up 0.012 as he's definitely run that wide, so that's got to be an invalidation.
Oh, Potato, P2.
Potato in P2 with a 1:15.4. Very impressive there from Potato. And noting that Farmer Sam probably hasn't put his best lap time in yet, I reckon the Hustles are looking pretty damn good, remembering that Websy's teammate won't be contributing tonight, so it's just one V-carb. But I think Websy's bringing it into the pits. Okay, so he'll put on a new set. So this is an interesting point in the qualifying. We'll see who wants to use up the 3 sets and who wants to use up 2. But if the boys want to do one more run before they jump on a new set, they probably want to be going out now with about 2 minutes left before they go out on their final run.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see much more action filing out of the pit lane for about 3, maybe 4 minutes. I've got it somewhere what the optimal pit exit time is, but I'll focus on commentating for now, maybe find it later. But we saw Finn's. He was a 10th up after Sector 1. I was briefly on board with him, decided to jump on with Cam instead as he was a bit closer to the finish line. But Finn's able to make it round faster, and he is now one of 3 members of the 15-4 club. Websy's still sitting atop Potato, not far behind in P2, and Finn's only 11 milliseconds off Potato 101. Just signed up, actually. Jumped in after...
Yusuf.
Oh, Yusuf, 15.2.
That is mighty quick. I don't know if somebody's going to be able to beat that. A 1:15.273. That's 2/10 quicker than what Websy put on the board. And Websy's lap was bloody brilliant. So Yusuf out of nowhere coming up to the top of the pack. Geez, he's got enough time as well to come in and put on a new set of tyres. I'd be very interested to see. Oh, that was a new set that he did that lap on. So, Yusuf is probably going to be using up all the sets, provided he comes in for one more run. Trying to see who else is on a lap at the moment. Looks like everybody's cruising coming into the pits. With the exception, looks like Jerry Bob might be on a lap, and he hasn't binned it there. He's looking like he might be going a little bit slow. Don't hate me if he is on a lap. He is on a lap, okay, so he's going to come around the final corner now. DRS wide open. He's going to use overtake all the way to the end of the lap. What can he do? Only up into 15.
2.5 tenth improvement, though.
He won't be happy, but geez, this is a real spread here from P1. 1.2 seconds down to 14th and 8 tenths from 10th to 1st. So a little bit of silence now on the track. It doesn't look like anyone's doing a lap except everyone's kind of called it there. So we'll see the lads go once more as Yusuf comes around.
Is he an AI? No.
Have a feeling he might just be wanting to dump a... What's Yusuf doing here? What is Yusuf doing here?
Oh, he's DSQ'd himself.
Beautiful.
To go from last to first. We'll see that in that'll show up in the steward's room. Like, he's pretty blatantly disqualified himself to go from last to first. Stewart's
Yeah,
been trying to crack down on that as well.
if that's the case, that's pretty poor. We don't want to be seeing any of that. And I tell you what, though, when you've got the likes of Websy, Joshy, Farmer Sam,
Oh,
of course,
Websy's doing it as
Potato,
well. Websy's doing it as well.
he's going backwards as Websy. Yeah, we don't want to be seeing any of this. This is really silly.
That's just poor form from those two. Very poor form.
No, we don't want to be seeing any of this. It certainly ruins the moment for a lot of these guys. But look, Potato certainly won't be complaining now, sitting up in P1 as the lads now are starting to come out of the pits. We've got Mash, we've got Apollo Pepsi, Aussie 2K, Tyler, Vert, Jerrybot all coming out. As
Potato's doing it as well.
This is it's a bit silly. We'll just make sure that there's not a red flag for a restart.
No, there won't be.
Well, this is really silly. We don't want to be seeing anyone kind of altering artificially the final finishes here. But as far as I'm aware, the stewards don't take kindly to people purposely disqualifying, and I have a feeling they may receive a pretty hefty penalty, if not be disqualified from the entire session.
Yeah, I believe they were trying to crack down on that, if not last week, the week before. I'll quickly get tier 1 verdicts up. It says going... no, that was when Websy and Check had crashed into each other. I think there was something saying, though, I believe, that if they purposely disqualify themselves, that would be disqualification from the race.
Yeah, I think you're right with that, Ash. Let's ride on board with Mash currently in P5. He's just started his lap with Aussie 2K closely following behind him, but Mash is currently 5/10 off the lead. As I'm
invalidated.
Surely he's invalidated there.
Yeah, he'll need to get round in time, though.
He's going to want to get round in time. He'll give his teammate
so did
Aussie
2K as well. 2K
toe.
invalidated as well.
That's not good. So these boys will want to get around. They do have time. The question is, do they have the fuel? That will be the big question.
Yeah, they should. I believe they should. I'll check what their fuel levels are.
While you do that, I'm going to ride on board here with Sir Joshy. Sir Joshy is obviously closely followed by Zox, as he normally is. Beg your pardon, Zox is out in front with Joshy closely behind. So these lads will be eyeing up a pole here. They're only a tenth, 2/10 off Finns at the moment, and I reckon on a new set of tyres with Track Evolution, they'll certainly be looking for a pole position here. Farmer Sam has come out. He'll be going right at the very end of this session, so keep an eye on him as well. And Cam as well, also coming in at the end of the session. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like the Ferraris will come around once more, and then it's going to be the Astons, and the Astons are the first of the final times for the session.
Yeah, Zox, he was up 1/10 through Sector 1. I didn't see what his Sector 2 time was, but I still think that his lap time is going to be immense, and it looks like Sir Joshy has actually caught up quite a bit to where the original gap. Sir Joshy on pole watch. It is a 15 flat for Sir Joshy. Zox 15.19. Those two are... and Finns is invalidated.
Finns has invalidated. Apollo Pepsi now coming across the line. He's currently in 6th, puts it up into 4th, closely followed by his teammate. Looks like Verk's only been able to keep it in P9, so that's unfortunate. Next coming through, who's that? Looks like
5/10 up.
Finns has invalidated, so he's out. So Keith is the next one who's going to be crossing the line. He keeps it clean through the final corner. He's currently sitting in P8. How far can he go up the pack? Looks like up to P6, so he'll be happy with that. He'll be happy with that nonetheless, though. P6.
Farmer Sam.
Who's coming through next? Oh, as Mash has absolutely binned it, so he's out. Farmer Sam is going to be the next one across the line. He's done a lock up into the second last corner. Coming into the final corner now, his tyres are definitely going to be hot. He jumps on the overtake. Currently in P5. He'll be wanting a pole. Where can he put it? Only up into P4, but I think he'll be happy with that nonetheless. Cam has kept it where he wants it. Who else has come through?
Aussie 2K Goat, he was unable to improve, and now it's Nat Hammer coming through to set the final lap time of the session. What can he do? He can
he's lost it.
Yeah, he can do a pretty sick drift by the looks of it, showing that off on stream. He comes up to the line, and yeah, that was A qualifying session, I can confirm.
It was.
It'll be interesting to see so if and what the punishment is for those three drivers at the back.
Yeah, I think they might be having a penalty coming their way. But like I said, certainly in the broader spirit of the game, you don't want to be doing that to alter the result. So Joshy takes pole with a 1:15.059. That is very quick nonetheless, with Zox in P2. Finns, Farmer Sam, and Polo Pepsi and Cam follow through suit. Keith with Mash, and then Verk, Aussie 2K, Tyler, Globdrip, Jerry Bots sitting down the back with Scotty, Nat, Yusuf, Websy, and Potato all disqualifying. But a pretty big spread all the way up until P8. We've got a second gap, and then the tenths just keep on piling up down the end. But key now, Ash, is to keep it clean into turn one.
Yeah, I think the dynamic of having those three powerhouses starting at the back, we'll forget about the DSQ for a moment, talk about the actual race. Those three drivers coming through with their pace, it could cause a bit of lap one carnage to be held. The Aston Martins front row lockout, they'll be looking to work together from the word go, looking to tow each other along and maybe help fuel save if they opt to under fuel, or maybe just go a little bit higher. Aston Martins, notably, actually, they were running very low on fuel at the end of their lap, so it could have been a double outlap that they just invalidated. Oh, was that them who invalidated, or was it Ferrari?
I think it was Ferrari. No, it was. They both. I think they all invalidated. I think so. I think the Astons invalidated, and so did the Ferraris.
Yeah, but I think the battle for that final podium spot as well will be very close, as we see 3, 4, 5 lights are above the drivers. And now they are, and it is go. It seems like Zox has got a slightly better start than
Aston
Sir
side by
Joshy. Going into turn one, side by side, they managed to hold the 1-2. However, as we see the tyres, Sir Joshy starting on the hard, the rest of the grid going with that yellow band of mediums as the grid now files into turn 3. It is still Sir Joshy from Zox, from Finns, from Farmer Sam. Jelix Cam up into P5 after a fairly lackluster start to his qualifying session. He'll be looking to fight his way up towards the podium. But as we head around halfway into the lap now, the Aston Martins holding their 1-2. Jelix Cam dropping a little bit off that top 4 pack, but Farmer Sam, he could be looking for a move on Finns here, opting to just sit behind, but Finns looking to break the Aston Martin deadlock. He's looking for a move into turn 9 and 10, going for the switchback now after forcing Zox deep, looking down into the inside of the hairpin turn 11. He gets the move done. He will now have Sir Joshy on that hard compound of tyre within his sights, and already the Aston Martin band of teamwork has been shattered.
Yeah, this isn't going to have worked for the Aston. Zoc, really, the plan was pretty key to keep Finns behind and let Sir Joshy on those hards extend that lead as much as they can, but that's now been broken. So Zoc will want to get back past Finns as soon as possible. He gives him a little nudge into turn 1 as Finns goes off the grass, whether he'll attack this or not. Oh, Farmer Sam making a move. Looks like they're going to be going 3 wide coming into turn 3. As they keep it on the track. Keith down the absolute
up into
inside.
P2.
This is incredible from Keith. He's up 5 places up into P2. It's carnage behind. The boys want to keep it clean. It's very easy to lose it here, as Tyler's aware, sitting down the back there with Matt Hammer. But Keith up into P5 as the other lads are trying to organise themselves. Zox from P2 down into P6. He's got overtake on. He'll be looking to make a move on Farmer Sam. Cam now has DRS, so he'll be able to defend. Oh, it's a big accident. Accident on the straight. Cam has definitely gone sideways up on the wall. Apollo Pepsi is definitely DNF'd. Virtual safety car. How that's not a full safety car, I have no idea. As Cam on my screen was sideways up on the wall, Lightning McQueen style, but he's certainly got no wing. It looks like it is a full safety car. I can see a safety car coming out. But this is going to be very interesting now. I have a feeling that the boys at the front who can't stay clear of that won't be boxing. They'll be happy to come round, but it's going to be a free wing change for everyone else. And anybody else who wasn't entirely comfortable with their tyre choice.
Sam boxing.
May want to jump
he was missing an M plate, Sam. But How has Cam survived there? He was riding that wall like it was Mario Kart, and he's managed to come back down with all four wheels still intact. The only
That is
damage,
crazy.
a bit of a bruised ego and a missing front wing.
I cannot believe it. I have not seen that in this game. That was absolutely bonkers. But look, as we mentioned, Keith is the biggest winner here, up in the top end at least, up 5 places. Potato is up 10 places. He's had a ripper of a start. I have a feeling he probably just capitalised on a little bit of that carnage that was happening up in front of him. But Cam is down the back, and Farmer Sam down the back as well. They're the biggest losers. Those lads who disqualified, Yusuf, Scotty, and Websy, they haven't really made up as many places as they probably would have wanted.
Oh, Scotty
11th,
didn't DSQ.
12th. Did he not? Beg your pardon.
No,
Yusuf
it was
and
Potato.
Yusuf, Websy, and
Yusuf,
Potato. Yeah,
yes.
righto. So those lads, well, with the exception of Potato, he's made up a fair few spots. Yusuf and Websy still sitting down the back. I wonder if they maybe got caught up in that chaos as well. But this is going to be interesting now. I wonder if Zox is going to try and make that move again to make that strategy work with Joshy, because Finn's getting past that early was definitely not part of the plan.
Yeah, I think the Aston Martins definitely would have stayed together, and now it's not like it's a 1-3. Zox is off the podium. Keith Respondak making that ballsy move down the inside of turn 3. He's managed to keep his front wing entirely intact. In fact, no one on the grid has front wing damage somehow. Everyone with a fully working car, no damage. So we'll hopefully be able to see some more full pace driving. Just want to say, you have to feel for Apollo Pepsi taking the time out of the day to host the lobby, and then now he's got to sit around for 27 laps doing nothing.
His service has been noted. His service will be rewarded at some point in life, just not tonight, unfortunately, for Apollo Pepsi. Yeah, he'll definitely be disappointed. He had pace as well. He was capitalising on some of that side by side action, and then got his nose just a little bit too deep into the action. But this is going to be interesting now. So Keith, of course, on those medium tyres, will be eyeing up probably a quick take on Joshy, because the longer that Joshy is out in front, the more this strategy works for him. But those lads that have boxed down the back, all of them have jumped onto the hard. So Yusuf, Sam, Websy, Cam, and Nat Hammer all on hard tyres, fresh hard tyres down the back. Apart from them, P2 down to P11, they're still on the same tyres, those medium tyres with Joshy out in front, the sole old hard runner. So he will want to be keeping that lead. He won't be wanting to sit behind Dirty Air. He'll want to be staying out there as long as possible, keeping Keith behind, because that's the strategy that he's got to win this race.
Yeah, I think Sir Joshy's actually going a bit lucky here, because if that safety car was going to happen, I think he wants it exactly when it happened, as Bern Mylander will now safely hide behind the pit wall from the antics that happened in that battle for the podium. I think my prediction was actually fairly spot on. That battle for the podium is going to be
well done.
Insane today.
I'm just having a look at Cam's onboard footage here, and it is as crazy onboard as it was in the third person. The fact that he got away with that is just nuts. The quote, "I am God," sums it up pretty damn well, because that was divine intervention to get away with it. But Ash, you want to take us away for this safety car restart?
Yeah, we'll ride on board with Keith Respondak as Sir Joshy prepares to take us away. We'll have a quick look at the position changes on the gap. You can see Keith Respondak, a big riser. He'll be looking to rise further up the grid, up into that P1 position. He'll be looking to feast all over Sir Joshy and his hard combiner tyres. It'll be hard to get heat into them. But he is gone. The pedal is down to the floor. And Keith Respondak already using battery. He could be sizing up a move down into turn 3. He just needs to stick close to the Aston Martin driver, as he would have ran it very close to a warning. But his focus now will be on a move inside or outside. He opts for the inside, just a bit too far back though, not wanting to repeat his lap 2 antics by the looks of it. So Joshy holds the lead still from Finns, from Zox, from Mass Jr., from Verk, and from Aussie 2K as the grid now starts to pass through turn 5. Potato 1-1. Up into 8th after getting disqualified in qualifying. I think he'll be fairly happy with that.
Websy's off.
Oh, Websy.
Websy's back. Scotty went off as well. A couple of the boys down the back getting a little bit too aggressive, I think, for this early in the race. Keep eyes on AUSF as well. He's starting to cut through the pack, but Potato is sitting on the back of Aussie 2K as well. These lads are very, very fast. They're going to make up moves early. But here we go, going for the lead. Keith's taking the lead.
Oh, I was watching the wrong Sauber there. Yusuf also getting that move done on Jerabot that I was about to watch, missing that move for the lead. Keith Respondek at turn 11 will now lead the pack as he prepares to start lap 26 as Yusuf already has 3 seconds to his name. So does Farmer Sam. Some of these fast guys exceeding the track limits a little bit. You've got a couple, like some very fast
Cam
guys.
as
GLX,
well.
yeah, also GLX Cam.
Who's in the pits?
I don't think Cam's the kind of person to pit and quit. He'll want to try to get some points as Keith Respondek fastest lap of the race, but DRS is now enabled, letting the drivers behind them have that advantage that he will not possess. You've got that back-to-back DRS zone to start the lap, which I think the leader is going to find deadly. As
Joshy making a move already. Wow.
Already going for a move, but he backs out. I think he wants that DRS, the detection point, right on the exit there. And now I think Keith will be a bit of a sitting duck. I wouldn't be surprised if he falls down to P2 on this straight, maybe even P3.
Watch out for Fins. Fins is getting his nose in it as well. Look at this.
Fins are around the outside of Sir Joshy. Sir Joshy not able to capitalise. He'll have to look to capitalise on the next straight. Keith will still be without DRS, but Fins taking the lead of the race in that Red Bull. I don't think Joshy will come under too much threat from his teammate as he goes side by side with Keith into turn 11, able to make it out scratch free. Keith Respondek now in the prime seat to take the lead back as Fins goes a little bit deep. He had a pretty good advantage, but he's thrown that away, thrown 2/10 away through turn 13 as he now starts the lap. Keith Respondek with DRS. Finn setting the fastest lap with the aid of DRS, flicking it into none. Either that or is it very much low on battery? It's none by the looks of it. And I think he will be under threat come Lakeside Drive on that long left-handed straight or through the right-handed kink down into turn 11. We're seeing a lot of moves today. It is turn 11 and turn 3. I'm noticing two very sharp right-handers that you could almost dub hairpins, depending on how loose you want to be with your definition. They are a acute angle. They're less than 90 degrees, both quite sharp. But Sir Joshy looking to get one up on Keith Respondek around the outside of Keith, looking into turn 9 and 10, but I think he thinks better of it and opts out as Keith now extremely close to Fins. I think we might see a move here from the Kick Sauber as he looks to take the lead. It is a one-on-one of Sauber versus Red Bull here. Fins looked like a chance for the switchback for a second, but Keith Respondek able to consolidate that lead as we prepare for lap 8 and 2 more DRS zones coming our way.
Yeah, P5 down to P10 are also very, very close. That's a tight battle up there. What's pretty obvious is that Joshy is running a very high downforce setup. He's not able to make those gains down the straight. He's happy to just keep it in DRS and really cans through the corners here. Keith is interesting. He's choosing to harvest that ERS through Sector 1. That means he probably doesn't back his pace as much as he'd like through this sector and will need to defend. But again, it makes me think that he's possibly running a lower downforce setup, beg your pardon. But Fins with 100% ERS sitting behind him, whereas Keith currently only has 37%. So Fins is going to be making a move here, definitely down the straight. And you'd have to think that both Joshy and Zox will want to be capitalising on this as well, as Fins coming around the outside.
Yeah, Finn's already looking for a move before the DRS zone even starts. As we see Sir Joshy momentarily think about making it 3 wide. He's still down the inside as Cam has spun at turn 1. A race to forget for the McLaren driver. Keith Respondek down into P3 and he's still a sitting duck with no DRS as we see Zox and Potato 101 side by side into 11. Potato, he goes a little bit deep as Zox goes even deeper onto the curb. That could be a warning, and I don't know how easy that will be to get removed as Keith Respondek falls down into P3. Finn's once again leading, but I just want to note, you said Keith might be lacking pace through Sector 1 by harvesting ERS. I think the thing is, where else do you harvest it? Like
Yeah, it's true. That's the thing. You can't harvest in Sector 2. You can harvest in Sector 3, but you have to do a little bit of dumping down that pit straight in order to defend from that DRS zone. As Sir Joshy now sitting behind Finns, I mean, this is going to be interesting from here. Finns is sitting there, obviously no ERS, so he'll want to be harvesting down that back straight. So Joshy currently sitting there with 62%. But like you said, Ash, this is definitely a DRS train and an ERS battle. As Keith's still sitting 6/10, so all of the boys down to P10 are really happily sitting in this DRS train, which is great entertainment for us, but it's going to be frustrating for the lads down there. As Yusuf makes a move nice and early on match, he's moved up into 6th, though Potato and Yusuf 13th and 10th respectively, as Joshy takes the lead. So Joshy's happy to sit up in front now. He'll appreciate a little bit of clean air as Zox picks up at 3 seconds. So 3 seconds now for Zox, Yusuf, Farmer Sam. I think Cam has a 3 second down the back as well as he pits again. So really a race to forget for Cam. He's probably going to get lapped as well, depending on where he comes out. But yeah, looks like Joshy's happy to sit, and he's almost lost it out of that final corner. I don't know how he's managed to keep that going. As Finn's 5/10 off, Respondek, as Zox comes into the pits. So Zox is going to be the first one, by the looks of it, to put on the hard tyres.
Oh, Keith as well, 3 seconds. A lot of 3 second penalties being handed out as already as Zox. Wets.
He's put wets on. So that was probably not part of the plan. Maybe it's a master plan. Maybe he's the rain that we don't. But that was definitely a mistake. I can't imagine that
there's no
he
rain
intended
coming.
to put wets on. So that's the end of Zox race, unfortunately, unless the safety car comes out around now. But Joshy is still sitting up in P1. Finns is happy to sit behind him. He's not making any move. But the critical thing here is now coming up to Cam as the back marker. Cam's going to keep clear because there are 10 cars in quick succession. As Finns now moves into the lead, he's happy to stay up front. But Cam's going to stay out of the way here because the boys are messy enough as it is without a back marker. Could just add a slight element of difficulty as he moves over to the side.
Nicely out of the way. I think it would have been interesting to see what happens with Cam if he did give DRS to Finns, but I think the interesting thing now is how is Sir Joshy going to manage on his own? He doesn't really have anyone to stick with out the front except maybe Yusuf and Farmer Sam who pit on the safety car, as we see Finns, Keith, Potato 101 all coming into the pit lane. Mash Jr. stays out. Aussie 2K doesn't behind him as safety car.
Safety car, wow. So this will be interesting. So the boys are going to get past the safety car, so they will be sticking to the Delta. So there won't be too many changes, but certainly Finns, Keith, Potato, Aussie 2K, they'll be fuming. But it could be much worse. All the boys are under a Delta now. This was unexpected. I'm trying to see where Glob went off. It looks like he went off on his own volition.
After 9 and 10, I think he just spun it out like Mash Jr. did in Foley.
Yeah, he must have spun it out. I mean, that's certainly a tough set of corners there. If you run it too tight on that apex, you'll bottom out and you'll spin out. And if you run it too wide, you'll get yourself in the sand, and that's not going to be pretty. So, very tough corners there. Unlucky for Glob. He was sitting down the back, so probably wasn't a night for big points for him, but points nonetheless for finishing. As Cam, bless his soul, will move up into 15th place. So he'll be making points, and that's why you don't bid and quit.
Yeah, I think Cam is going to have his fingers crossed so that the people in front of him pit. I think, though, this is a worst-case scenario for that top three on the hards, and the medium runners will be right behind them, like safety car, just as the medium runners are pitting. So it could be interesting to see what the top three do. Sir Joshy staying
crazy
out.
Not to box.
Yusuf and Farmer Sam both staying out. I don't think the mediums make it to the end, though. So unless they're idiots and selected the harder compound strategy, which is just realistically, without hindsight, a completely stupid decision. You may as well just have the extra medium or soft compound tyre. But
I'm very, very surprised to see Joshy stay out. I would have thought that he would have taken that pit because he would have probably come out around P6, maybe P7. So I'm surprised that he's decided to stay out. But he must trust that both Yusuf and Sam, who are only on 2 lap younger tyres to him, will be able to keep off Finns, who's going to be now the front runner on that new strategy. So Josh is going to be banking on a little bit of DRS train here. And to be fair, we saw how effective it was just staying in that DRS and trading places up the front. So obviously they're going to be hoping for another safety car. Yusuf and Farmer Sam's tyres surely won't make it to the end. They're already 9 laps old with another, 17 laps of racing. You'd surely think not.
Yeah, Farmer Sam and the top three realistically. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see Farmer Sam and Yusuf bounce onto mediums, but I think Sir Joshy, I don't think he would because Yusuf and Sam, I think they have enough pace. I think Yusuf and Sam, some of the fastest drivers in the region, they would back themselves to catch up, especially if there was another safety car. But I think Sir Joshy, he's very good at qualifying pace, but with that higher downforce setup, he could get slowed a bit, and he'll find it hard to cut it back through the field if he were to pit. So I see why he's stayed out. But Zox gifted a lifeline in P14, a couple of slower drivers ahead of him off the wets back onto the appropriate compound of tyre to finish this race. He'll be looking to make a comeback drive in that TikTok-sponsored Aston Martin.
Yeah, well done, Zox. We got there eventually. Certainly, we've all been there of putting on the wrong tyres. I think you've hit the nail on the head here, Ash. Joshy will be trusting that should Yusuf and Sam get past him, he will have the pace to stay in that DRS zone. And look, he's obviously got the higher downforce setup, so he shouldn't be too difficult through Sector 3. And obviously that DRS detection marker is in Sector 3 as well. So he might have pulled it off here, but obviously he will be banking on another safety car. So keep an eye on Joshy. Whether Yusuf and Sam want to steam ahead or whether they're happy to play the DRS game, we're not sure. But I think knowing Yusuf and knowing that he wants to do this bloody last to first challenge or whatever it is he's trying to pull off, I have a feeling he will trust his pace to get out in front and pull the lead.
Yeah, we did see Yusuf set that extremely quick lap in qualifying. We know he has that pace. It's just how he's able to harness that on some older, hard compound tyres, 10 laps of age now, those white banded tyres. They've got 2 sets of mediums, one slightly used, one should be brand spanking new that they can jump straight back onto come their pit window. But I think that this is absolute worst case scenario for Sir Joshy out in front as the safety car is pulled back in behind the pit or wall. I believe we'll only see him a maximum of 2 more times this race. Is Cam nicely letting everyone through.
Yeah, well done, Cam.
You got to applaud him. He's sticking in it for the points at this rate. I'm sure he won't mind doing one less lap around Albert Park. I don't think him and Albert are great friends at the moment.
Where do you go here, Ash? I mean, if you're Joshy, it's kind of an inevitable probably that Yusuf's going to push through. So maybe leave it until the last second as we ride on board with him here. Yusuf obviously very, very keen to get going, keeping it nice and close. But ladies and gentlemen, I reckon this is going to be interesting. Keep an eye on Sir Joshy. Keep an eye on Yusuf, Sam, and Nat. Those are the guys that are on the old tyres. Fins, he's going to be the most aggressive. He's on new tyres. As Joshy through the final corner, he still hasn't gone. He's gone now. He's got a little bit of wheel spin, not the start that he probably would have wanted. Yusuf only 2 tenths behind him. He's keeping it in hot lap, not dumping as there's movement down the back. It looks like Verk is looking to make a move. They've kept it clean through turn 1. Oh, Joshy's made an error there. Yusuf want to pounce. He's going around the outside here. Sir Joshy's going to take that inside line. He's covered it off very nicely, though. Yusuf's happy to wait. Sam almost goes into the back of Yusuf, far out. Yusuf happy to keep it nice and tidy here. Who's going to wait for that DRS by the looks of it as Websy and Verk trade places down the back. Verk's lost out big time, actually, as Potatoes hit the wall. So Potato possibly has wing damage now. Looks like he might be missing an end plate. No, he's kept it clean. But here we go. Now we're down on this back straight. Yusuf is dumping his ERS. He wants to get past. He's dumping. Is he going to make a move? Surely he will. Not quite, as Joshy keeps it just into this set of corners here. And Joshy gets a nice run there as well, actually. Again, high downforce setup, so that's working very well for him. As Yusuf only has 25%, and he's under pressure now from Fins, as Fins has come through. So Fins, on those new tyres, obviously working his magic. He's closing up to Joshy very, very quickly as well. So Fins will want to get through. as soon as possible as he gets a nudge, and that's someone at the back. That's Keith
Oh,
off.
Keith,
Keith
no.
is off. Looks like he might have been shunted down the back somewhere as the boys are starting to get a little bit aggressive down here. You want to keep it clean. Still a lot of laps to go. Who you got your eyes on, Ash?
I was watching Websy. He was stuck behind Nat Hammer and he was getting extremely impatient. Nat might have been a little bit on the not so clean side. I wouldn't call it dirty, but he was pretty aggressive, taking those inside lines, and Websy just not able to get around him. Nat making his car extremely wide.
That's who's that? That's
Nat.
Potato, is it? Oh, Nat.
No,
That's Nat
speak
around.
of the devil.
Oh, jeez Louise, that's really poor. He definitely wasn't left enough room there. If I was Nat, I would be fuming at that one. But hey, look, more drama up the front. Fins now has ERS and DRS enabled, so he is going to be looking to make a move on Joshy on those new tyres. Geez, if you're Joshy, what do? You've just got to hope for that safety car. But at that point, Fins, Potato, Mash, Keith, Zox, none of these guys have to box anymore. So if there is another safety car, it's going to be a battle of the new versus old tyres, same as what we're seeing now. But it does look like that extra grip coming from the hards is working magic.
Yeah, Sir Joshy, he's gone a bit deep there as well. That could leave him vulnerable to Fins, but he's in a very tight pickle now. His teammate that he's so good at working together with is now about 3-4 seconds off the lead, battling for the lead of a train. I don't know if it'll be more battling or more teamwork and just hoping the guys up front fight. But Sir Joshy falling down to P2, and now it's just going to be a battle of sticking with Fins. I don't think he's going to be able to challenge Fins too easily, given he's got that 10-lap tyre advantage. But Sir Joshy just needs to stick with him, and he's already finding that hard through Sector 1 as Yusuf all over the back of him, 8/10 off, just within DRS by a tenth by the skin of his teeth. He's going to have a very weak defence, though, very far back from the slipstream, and the likes of Yusuf, Farmer Sam, Potato behind him going to be feasting all over him. Potato and Farmer Sam swapping positions. Potato maybe having a bit more pace.
Big accident down the back.
Oh,
Zox has
no.
lost it. It looks like he's kept it running, but definitely lost some wing there. Zox has kept it running. It looks like he just got a little too close to, it could have been anyone, as those boys were very close down the back there, as Sir Joshy and Potato now go side by side. Burke was very, very lucky to get away with that. Zox, I beg your pardon, Zox was very lucky to get away with that. He was sideways going about 300 k's an hour. He might come into the pits. No, he's happy to stick it out, but he has lost an end plate as he's struggling to get grip through there. As Websy puts in the fastest lap with a 1:17.6. Websy, of course, on those new mediums. We haven't talked about him that much after the pit stop, but Websy is on those new tyres. 5 lappers. I think they'd be pretty dead at the end, but you've got to put him up there with pure pace to get up to the front of the pack. You would have thought.
Yeah, I was going to mention, if you didn't mention it, Websy, 5-lap-old mediums, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, looking to bridge the 2 DRS trains back together. Or now it's actually 3 DRS trains. Sir Joshy, outside of that top battle, Yusuf using his raw pace to stick with him. But Sir Joshy's tyres are just too old to compete. I think he'll be thinking about putting them away, selling them into retirement soon. I think he has to get to around lap 20 to hit onto mediums and safely get to the end. As we see Cam on soft tyres, he could see an assault on the fastest lap award, but I think with Websy on mediums and with DRS, that could be quite a hard feat to achieve for the trifling McLaren driver.
Oh, who's that? So that's
Pitts.
Joshy coming into the pits. Interesting. So he's decided that the safety car isn't coming out anytime soon as he gets the drive through 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Very unlucky there. I did see him locking up towards the very end. That's very, very unfortunate for Joshy. Even though he's boxed now, he's going to be waiting for another safety car to try and get rid of that 10 seconds. So that's a nightmare, unfortunately, for Joshy. So Fins now out in the lead with a 4/10 advantage. He's got 80% ERS. He's going to be very happy defending, methinks. Yusuf currently sitting in P2 with Potato in P3 as Yusuf goes a little bit wide there and he's having to dump as Websy now gets a 3-second. That is interesting. At some point, we are going to have to start talking about the penalties because it's only Fins, as Zox gets a 3-second as well. It's only Fins and Mash right now up in the top 7 that don't have penalties. as Yusuf now gets another penalty with, with a 3 second. So just talking about it is enough to trigger these 3 seconds. But yeah, certainly going to be keeping an eye on the likes of Mash now and Finns who don't have any penalties as Websy makes a move on Farmer Sam. So Websy now up into P5. Verk still sitting pretty in P8. Don't forget about him. He also doesn't have any penalties, and he's still sitting at the back of this train. And what tires are he on? He's still on those new sets as well. So he's on the same strategy as P1, P3, P4, and P7. So keep an eye on Verk as well as Zox comes into the pits again, and he has pit and quit. That's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it's a very large fall from race by the two Aston Martin drivers. Now, a DNF and second last, only Cam behind, who's had a absolute horror after starting quite high up and getting involved in numerous accidents. But I think something that Yusuf might not looking at is where Sir Joshi came out, right at the back of that pack. He's either going to have to wait for a safety car, or he can try and stretch his tyres to the end. I'm looking at his tyre wear, and he's getting around 2% a lap. So that would put him on around 55-60% come the end of this race. It's manageable, but in an environment like this, like the front of this Tier 1, as Potato takes the lead, but he does have that penalty and a little snap on the exit there. But as I was saying, Yusuf might actually be looking to go to the end here, because I think with those 6-second penalties, with the only driver he can reasonably overtake, I think falling that far back is his teammate, which realistically is not what T8 wants his team principal.
Yeah. I think you're right. Finns has now taken the lead, so he's happy to stick it out in front for a little bit as Potato follows behind. I think definitely we've got to keep eyes on Joshi here. He had a 5.3 second gap that's now down to 4.7. And once he catches up to Scotty, he should make his way pretty easily back up into the top 10 as he's just put in a fastest lap. Websy, of course, probably hasn't made the gains that he wants. He's currently sitting in P5 on those 8-lap old mediums, but the longer he sits behind these guys, the less his strategy is going to work, because the mids are going to drop off and the hards should stand up a little bit longer, as nobody seems to be making any moves just yet. The boys up down to P5 are willing to just play this game, and then P6, P7 and P8 are willing to play the game as Joshi picks up a 3-second. He won't be happy with that, as poor Cam, sitting down the back. He doesn't have any wing, but props to him for sticking it out, because P14 is still a couple of points as somebody is around, is it?
Keith's got a 3-second for corner cutting. Farmer Sam causing yellow flags just behind, or like exactly where Keith was. So I think we might actually see Keith in that shields room quite a few times today. He spun that hammer. He then seems to possibly have had a collision with Farmer Sam, so that's just putting Farmer Sam's race into more detriment. He either has to pit or struggle around the track on 8-lap old, or like 8-9-lap older tyres than everyone else around him, and try to limp to the end with a penalty as well, might I add. So not a very good race for the Haas team principal.
Keep in mind, Sam is on the same strategy as Yusuf, so he's holding out for either a safety car or a miracle, or both, but certainly with those penalties, he's not going to be getting anywhere near up the front, unfortunately. A little bit of movement in the middle there, so Verk and Keith happy to trade places there. Again, they're going to do everything they can to catch up to the back of P5. 2.7 second gap currently between P5 and 6. So keep an eye on that gap. Whether that closes or whether that extends will determine the race for Verk, Keith, and really for that matter, Farmer Sam, provided he catches up to the back of this pack. But Aussie 2K, 4.9 seconds off the back of Farmer Sam. It's really just gaps all the way down there. We've got Jerry Bott and Scotty happy to play the game. They're trailing each other with Joshi close behind. But up front, still, Finns has the lead. Potato happy to slot in behind him. They pulled a little bit of a gap of about 7/10, now 6/10. They'll be wanting to make a break from Yusuf, of course, with those 8-lap older tyres. But props to Yusuf for sticking out as long as he can, as Websy will want to be getting past him ASAP, because he will see the Potato is starting to pull away with that tyre advantage.
Yeah, I think what Yusuf will be looking at, if there's a safety car, is the fact that there's actually a pretty nice gap, I reckon, that he could slot out in, which would be between, I'd say, Keith Respondek and Aussie 2K Goat. Farmer Sam is there, but I don't think that lone car will be too much of an issue in the back of Yusuf's mind. So he could be eyeing that spot up. Or at the same time, if he doesn't want to lose that track position with penalties, he could just see what the two people in front of him do, see if they pit. If they stay out, he might risk staying out with them, because I think Websy will get past him. Mash is an outside chance, but I think Verk and Keith would struggle to get past Yusuf, especially if Yusuf was able to save a bit on tyre. We're currently on 42%.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Definitely think you've hit the nail on the head there, Ash. As Yusuf will get DRS, but he has dropped outside that second window. He got a big kick of oversteer through those final two corners. Potato and Fins happy to just... Oh, Yusuf's lost it, but he's caught it, so he's going to lose a position now. Websy sweeps through. Websy's going to love that, because 1.4 seconds, he'll close that gap pretty quickly, I think, on those medium tyres, as Yusuf goes deep again, because he needs to cover off Mash, and Mash slips through. So Yusuf losing 2 positions in about 3 corners. He'll be fuming about that with 20-lap-old tyres. But Verk will now probably be licking his lips. He doesn't have any penalties, and he's 2.9. So now watch that gap between Verk on 11-lap-old hards versus Yusuf on 20-lap-old hards. But also keep an eye on that gap between P2 and P3 as Fins and Potato trade places again, extending that lead from 1.7 seconds around to Websy, who's definitely quicker through those corners. So keep an eye on Websy through the final sector, because he'll want to be trying to close and get into that DRS train.
Yeah, the issue with Websy here is that those 11-lap-old mediums will be starting to actually fall to the 12-lap-old hards. Those hards will be mighty fast compared to what Yusuf has on the mediums. I'll quickly pull up stats as to when they cross over. While Websy, I think, has pace, you can see him falling. He's lost 2 tenths since I started speaking. I think the crossover for the mediums and hards
is under pressure.
Around
Mash
like 10.
goes through. Mash goes through.
He's overcooked with those, gone too deep.
Mash went a little bit too deep there. He's obviously sensing that, like you said, Ash, maybe those mediums are falling off just a little bit, as Websy also gets a big kick through the fast boy there. But he's going to be under pressure now. I have a feeling that you're bang on the money there, Ash. These mediums may just be about to drop off, just as you were speaking before. As Mash now, with the overtake, he's going to want to get the move and now extend it through Sector 3, because we now know that those mids don't have as much grip as the hards. As Potato and Fins, again, happy to trade places up the top. But this is shaping up to be very interesting. Chat, for anyone who is listening in, would love to get your thoughts on who's going to take the win at this point. But you've got to think Fins up there with no penalties and taking the lead with a pretty nice strategy. He's got to be the favourite.
Yeah, the thing is, if Fins even makes one mistake, we've got no idea how many penalties he's on, and we can't really check, because I'm actually pretty sure it glitches your game out and you're just stuck in race director for the rest of the...
Oh shit, well I'm in race director right now, so let's hope that it doesn't do that.
Yeah, because like it'll chuck you out kind of into the race results kind of screen you get, but there's no like advanced button, so you're just stuck there. I'd be willing to invite you back in if you depending on how the start of this race is going. But 4 laps remaining 4.5 laps remaining in this race, and the race is on between Potato and Fins. Mash Jr. at this rate would bring home a P2 for the Tifosi. Websy and Yusuf both behind him, but he's got major penalties. It's Websy getting extremely loose. He took a little beach trip, even though the lake is directly to
those mediums are done.
Right, yeah, those mediums are properly deep fried. I wouldn't be surprised to actually see Websy pit for softs, cut his losses, slot in behind, let's say, Farmer Sam, Sir Joshy, and use the softs to get back past. We saw him do something similar at Austria when he was battling with Campbell Adams for most of the race, and he was actually able to crawl back. Oh, Mash, no!
Oh, Mash.
3 seconds for Mash. Unless he can, possibly he can get one removed. I'd love to see a Mash P2, but I think Websy Yusuf might be licking their lips. A little bit of a weaker driver compared to the assets that those two possess, with Websy, his trusty desk mount, and I think Yusuf a bit more of a advanced gamer with a better rig than Websy, but they are both lightning fast. And Mash Jr., he'll be scampering along, trying to hold on to that last spot of the podium, and even then he's dropped out of the range of Potato's penalty.
Yeah, he has. I've just looked through the race director. It looks like Finns doesn't have any warnings, which, if true, puts him in very good stead. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1.
Cam getting out of the way.
That's Cam getting out of the way. Well done, Cam, as he drops down to being lapped about 5 times now at this point, as Finns now comes through. So these boys are working very, very well together, as we're going to see a little bit of movement, I think, from P3, P4, and P5, as Websy gets up very, very nice and close to Mash. Lucky that he didn't send him spiralling there, but... yeah, the chat might be on here that the boys might get a little bit hairy. As looks like, again, there might be... Oh, okay, so Cam has come together with... Who is that? Looks like Verk, is it? So Cam and Verk have come together. That's not good.
Cam has no wing. Though. Cam let Verk through, so it might have been Verk stranded in the middle of the track and Cam just got caught up.
Yeah, that's certainly possible, but Verk is missing half his wing. He's really struggling through there, and that will be very disappointing for Verk because he had no penalties. He was looking very nice up the front there as he comes into the pits. So he's going to take a new wing. So now it's all for Finns to lose now. P2 all the way down to P7 with 3, 6s and 9 seconds. So Joshy with a 13 seconds, so a 10 second that he'll probably be wanting to get removed at some point.
He can't. It was
that was through the pit lane. Yeah, you're right. So he won't be able to get that removed. Let's see what the chat's saying. So it looks like Finns, Mash and Verk podium after the post-race shenanigans. Yeah.
That's actually looking like a pretty bang-on prediction at the moment. Websy and Yusuf, their tyres are just...
No longer Verk.
Oh, not Verk.
So it looks like Sam or... Yeah, maybe Webs and Yusuf with a 6 second. Yeah, it's really all to play for
very
here.
Good for a podium, though.
Yeah, true, very true.
Because like 15 lap-old mediums for 24 lap-old hards versus 15 lap-old hards. Those hards pretty much at the peak of their powers if you were to contrast them to the 8 wheels behind him. So I think Mash will be fancying his chances for a podium here. How many as Cam... too late for a safety car, though. Too late for a safety car from Cam.
He came this far, sitting down the back of the pack, only to DNF. He'll be absolutely gutted. Got a feel for Sam there. But here we go. So 2 laps left. It's Finns. Finns race to lose here. Potato will want to stick within this 3 second, but one mistake is all it makes. This is going to be interesting though. P3, P4 and P5. I mean, particularly P3 and P4, both with 3 seconds. So they're racing on track. P5, Yusuf, we know he's got outright pace. He'll be wanting to make moves ASAP to try and break a 3 second gap. But Potato makes a move on Finns. Finns won't be making any silly moves. He'll be happy to stick behind him. On track now, Websy eyeing him up. He's not going to be making a move as he's got his ERS in none. So he'll be harvesting for that last lap push with Yusuf sitting in closely behind. But critically for Websy, he can't let Yusuf through because he wants to be battling Mash on track. But Finns, again, he's got everything to lose. He's looking like the favourite to win this race.
Yeah, I don't say this on strained body in case you've got a Ferrari or VCub engineer listening in, but look at the difference in battery levels between Mash Jr. and Lebsy as we start this lap. Lebsy, he'll be going on the all-out
attack. Mash already dumping. Wow.
Yeah, 6/10 he's got to make up with the use of DRS slipstream and all the battery he's saved up. It's lap 29 out of 29. Oh. This is where races are made. Mash fending for his life, looking to hold off that last podium as we see Finns or Potatoes skid marks from in front.
Oh, he's got it very loose.
Oh, Mash now trying to harvest as much battery as he can. It still looks like Websy has barely used an ounce, but Yusuf Goat also right there. If he can get one of those warnings removed, assuming he hasn't got any more, it could be P3 and P4 for those two good friends. But Mash now, he will be bearing the full assault of Lebsy. Lebsy looking to claim that last podium spot, and that is exactly what he does. Yusuf following him through now, and Mash can't do anything about it. No ERS, no DRS either, and no slipstream from someone in front. He's still there though, trying to fight back, but he just can't. He does not have the powers. Finns coming through the final hairpin. That's Nat Hammer just in front of him. He'll barely scamper through to complete the last lap, but Finn's crossing the line. A dominant display from the singular Red Bull driver. Potato from the very back of the grid to P2. We'll have to see what the stewards say about his disqualification in qualifying. Websy rounding out the podium. Yusuf P5 because of that free second penalty.
Yeah.
Mash Jr. P4. Keith P6. Farmer Sam P7. Sir Joshy, he'll tumble way further down than P8. As Aussie 2K Goat comes up to P7, Farmer Sam P8, Sir Joshy P9, Scotty P10, Jarabot P11, Verk P12, and Nat Hammer P13. Solid result from Jarabot, might I add, though. Top 10, stepping up from Tier 3.
Yeah, well done to Jerry Bott there. That was a mighty performance, but special shout out for me goes to Websy on those 18-lap-old mediums. How he managed to keep up with the rest of the boys who had 18-lap-old hards and 19-lap-old hards. That was very, very impressive when seems like about 5 or 10 laps ago we said those mediums were dropping off. So well done to Websy as well. But Finn's certainly the dominant driver, wasn't he? He kept it clean, most importantly, and that was what won him that race, was no penalties. Kept it all clean on track, and certainly deserved that win.
Yeah, I'll quickly jump into the Discord call. So I just gotta get my phone up though, so we can actually play it on stream. I'll catch you in a moment, bot.
No worries.
As we have bot joining us once again, I've pinged the three drivers and we now wait for them to hop into the commentary box.
The lads are certainly getting a little bit lippy in the Tier 1 chat. Who'd have thought? There was certainly a lot of drama throughout the race. Cam going sideways, Lightning McQueen style, was just phenomenal to see. And again, you just can't help but feel bad for him, trying to stick it out as long as he did, only to DNF with 2 laps left. But yeah, certainly the lads getting a little bit lippy in the chat, and I have a feeling we'll see a fair few stewards reports. So the stewards are going to have a busy night tonight.
Yeah, we've got 2 of our podium finishers. Not the one we'd target for our first interview though, which is Websy. I'll see if he can jump in, and then if not, we'll kick it off. I'll give him a little ping. Oop, what's done it? May as well just fill a bit of the dead air. We'll kick things off with our P2 interview. But do you want to start with some questions for Potato?
Tato, well done, mate. That was certainly a tough race. Despite your antics in qualifying, trying to do your last to first, you certainly almost got there going up into P2. Talk us through the race. Obviously, the penalty meant that it wasn't going to be that on track win for you. But talk us through the race and that final little bit of teammateship with Finns.
I just got a new wheel, so I've just been doing as much shit as I can today to get used to it. So that's why I kind of did what I did in quali, so I could basically get used to the buttons by using ERS more. And then, safety car happens, whatever that it was.
It's time for you to start thinking
it was
about
lap
pledging your
10,
allegiance to a constructor and
safety car came out during when we were boxing, so we lost a bit of time. And I pressed the wrong button for my clutch release, which wasn't ideal. And then, Finns ended up joining the call that safety car, so I worked my way through the field and worked with them, and we broke. It was a tyre difference, and pretty simple. Radio check.
But you there?
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I'm back. No, sorry, mate. I'm back. Sorry, my headphones just died, but I'm back. No, I did hear all that, Tato. Yeah, mate. Look, I think with those penalties, seeing the boys that came in behind you from P3 all the way down to P7, all of them had penalties as well. So you were racing them on track. So the fact that you were able to pull away with Finns, and you both kept it nice and clean, meant you got away with that P2. Can I ask though? Did you think at any point that you were able to break that 3-second gap by jumping in front of Finns and pulling away?
Um, just on tyre delta, I think. Just from the difference in tyres, I think we could have. Everyone else was on a lot older tyres. Webb's on mediums, which are good only for like 5-6 laps, and then it's really just pain and suffering from there. We just have to get in front of Keith, break in from him, and then yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we've got a bye next week, so you will get a little bit of rest. But then going off to Texas, off Dakota after that. How do you feel about Austin? How's the track work for you? Are you confident going around there?
I'm very topsy-turvy around there. Sometimes I can do great, sometimes I can do terribly. I do have another league race there that I'm going to do a lot of practice for, so we'll see.
Unreal. Well, well done, Potato. Well raced, and enjoy your week off.
We'll jump to Finn's now. Congratulations on your fairly dominant win. I mean, Potato was there with you, but he had that 3 seconds. Bot checked the race director during the race, and I just want to check, is it actually true that you're able to keep warning free throughout the entire race?
Yeah, I knew I'd have to at least not get a penalty. I didn't expect so many people to get penalties, and it made it slightly less stressful than it was. But yeah, spent the whole race. There was a few times where I got close. I'm usually pretty good at keeping it consistently close to the edge of the track limits without getting warnings. So yeah, happy to not even get a warning. It worked well with Potato. Quality was all right. Didn't do a good last lap and was only third. It helped that 3 people decided to move themselves to the back. So yeah, I knew I'd have to split up the Astons, so they're going to work together, and I did that. And then yeah, I got bumped off at turn 1, and then all shit kicked off when there was 8 of us within about a second, and yeah, absolute chaos. And I think there was a car sliding along the wall on the back straight. And yeah, it was good. Hards felt good, and working with Potato was good. We knew we were going to be quicker, and we had the tyres compared to the people around us, and we broke away. I knew he had a penalty, so I didn't have to worry about finishing ahead, but I thought it'd be nicer to do it just to make it look better. And yeah, in the end, happy with that race. First win in an Aussie League race in 6 months, so it's good to be finally back and have some good pace on this game.
Yeah, obviously there was 2 safety cars in that race. Did you consider pitting on that first one that came out around lap 2, lap 3, like a couple of drivers around you did that ended up kind of shooting themselves in the foot because of it? Or was it always just staying out, going to when you're actually going to pit?
Yeah, no chance I was going to pit in the first one. I reckon maybe it would have been close if we could have caught them without the safety car. I reckon Yusuf would have held on, but it would have been hard for him by himself with some of us working together. So yeah, the second safety car did make it a lot easier for us, putting us straight back on the back. But yeah, there was no chance. I was going to try do, or was it 27 laps on the hards, just not worth it at all. So yeah, I'm happy with what I did and survived the mess, stayed away from some of the scary people to race, and yep, managed to keep it clean and finally win.
Yeah, speaking of the safety car that put you right on the back, do you think you could have won that race if you had have stayed out, or if there hadn't been a safety car and Sir Joshy stayed out? How do you think his race would have gone compared to yours if there were no safety cars?
It's hard to say really, because on especially a track like this, you kind of need to have somebody to work with DRS. So I think sticking out by himself, it was working well at the start because the hard's so good around here, and yeah, he was leading the pack most of the time, and yeah, it was tough for him. He couldn't put under that second safety car because you can't do what Webbsy did. Webbsy did try and do it, but I think he actually held on in his position, but those mediums would have been destroyed by the end. So it's unlucky for him. It's bad timing, but he did it yesterday at Suzuka where he went hard yards long, and then came flying through on the mediums at the end and nearly got a podium, but made a mistake that cost him. But yeah, it would have been close. Would have been interesting to see if he could pull it off, because it is a strange strategy, or at least it's very different to what most people are doing. And on this game where DRS trains are the way to go, it would have been interesting to see if he could pull it off. So yeah, it was a good race, and cheers to Potato and cheers to everybody else.
Yeah, final question, unless Spot has anything to add after this. We've got a break week for the Australian Grand Prix coming up this next week. So we're at the Circuit of the Americas in a fortnight. Is that one of your stronger tracks, or is it something you're going to need to put a bit of work into?
I hate it. I'm not. I'm slow around there. I don't really dislike driving it. It's just that there's a few of those high downforce tracks that I don't hate them. I'm just really bad around them. And it's just going to be the normal story where I just need to hope that my quality pace is enough, because I'm always slow in quality. I don't know why, especially I'm so slow in quality compared to my race pace, but at least Code is a track where you can work your way up. But yeah, I'm going to need to hope that I can at least start in the top 8 or 10 and hope that I don't get dropped out of DRS. So yeah, it's going to be a waiting game, just like every track is a game. It's a waiting game with DRS until the last few laps, unless you can break away with the Delta like we did today. So yeah, it'll be good. I hope I can keep it slightly close. I'm not really in the title fight. Websy's just going to run away with it now that Campbell's not racing. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Campbell comes back, because it would be nice to win the Constructors with him. Yeah, I think we're top of the table in the Constructors, and yeah, that'll be a nice thing to do. So yeah, looking forward to the season.
Yeah, but do you have anything to add, or will we bounce to our latecomer Websy, who finished P3?
The only one I've got, Fins, is who's going to be taking the win in Australia on track in Melbourne next weekend.
As a Kiwi, my heart is Liam Lawson, but I have to be realistic. So I'd have to say I'm going to go just with the basic option and say either Max or Lando. Probably Lando. The McLaren looks unbeatable in race pace from testing, so we'll see. Would be nice to see Oscar win at home, but yeah, should be a good watch. Hopefully Liam can not get himself removed from Red Bull quickly.
Good stuff, Fins.
Thank you.
Yep, congratulations, Finns. We'll bounce to somebody who was a bit late to interviews. Websy, I think this will be a pretty good interview, able to come back on those mediums up into P3. Do you want to talk us through those final couple laps, trying to joust the Ferrari of Mash Jr. and Yusuf occasionally bumping up and getting in the way a little bit?
Well, if I talked about the whole race, it'd take me about 15 minutes, so we'll just stick to the last couple of laps. As a couple of the other guys mentioned, the mediums were absolutely destroyed by the end. They felt pretty bad on about 35-40%, and they were just undrivable by the end. I think they got up to 75 or something. It felt like I was driving Inters on a dry track, to be honest. Yeah, it was not good, but thankfully Mash Jr. didn't quite have as much pace as the top two, so I managed to stick with him. And then, last lap I got close enough because he made a couple mistakes, and then it was an easy pass in the end.
Yeah, you're saving up battery for quite a bit there. Did you notice? We noticed, sorry. Did you come under threat to Yusuf a couple times, or was he just on the same page as you, able to work together?
Yeah, we were in a VC together, so we were definitely on the same page, but he had 6 seconds of pens anyway, so I don't think he was trying to make the move at all, because of course he was just going to lose it at the end because I only had 3 seconds. But yeah, I was just saving battery because there's really no need to burn it unless I was going to fall out of DRS, which, it wasn't really going to happen.
Yeah, Do you think without the safety cars and boxing on that early one, you could have fought from the win for coming from pretty much dead last, or was it always going to be a game of catch up to the leaders of Finns and those like Potato?
Well, I got damaged lap 1, so I kind of had the box on that first safety car, which was lap 2 or 3, I think. But yeah, even if there wasn't a safety car, I would have been on really old hards anyway. I don't even think they would have made it to the end without a safety car. So yeah, it was just a lose-lose situation. I don't think I could have really fought them either way without a safety car.
Yeah, did you start on hards or did you box for hards early under that safety car?
I was on mediums and then I switched to hards.
Yeah.
And then ideally on the second safety car, I would have gone on to fresh hards, but I didn't have any left because I was on them before, so I was forced to go onto the mediums.
Yeah, in hindsight, would you have changed your strategy to stay out under that first safety car and jump onto hards at the second, or do you think that was probably the best you could have done?
Well, yeah, of course I would have stayed out if I hadn't known there was a safety car, but I mean, I think you just have to box if you've got damage, and there's a safety car, and especially because I was only P15 or something, so I wasn't going to lose anything by boxing. So yeah, if the race happened again, I still would have boxed to change the wing, I think.
Yeah. But do you have anything to ask Websy before we sign off?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, Websy, like you said, the risk of staying out and losing all that time by not boxing, I think the risk was far better in your favour to just box, and if a safety car comes out, it comes out. Can I ask, Websy, obviously you were my driver of the day, mate, being able to stick it out that hard on the mediums. We were riding on board with you, and it looked like they just kind of dropped off a cliff. Did you feel that? Was there one lap or 2 laps where you went, yeah, these are turned to shit, I can't do anything on these, or was it kind of more gradual? And at what point did they drop off? Do you remember what lap?
Yeah, I remember it was about lap 17, unfortunately for me, so I had to do 12 laps on really awful mediums. It was just around when they hit that 30-35% mark, they really fell off.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. We were riding on board with you and thought, Websy on these new tyres, we're probably getting to the crossover. And then right on cue, it looks like he was sliding every corner. It was pretty crazy. Obviously, same question to you though, mate. We've got the race week off, but Austin the following week. How do you go around there? How do you fancy your chances?
It's usually one of my worst tracks, I'd say. I haven't done it in a while, so I don't know, maybe I'll find some pace there. But yeah, last race I did, I was absolutely nowhere, and that's usually how it goes for me around Austin. So we'll see how I go, but I don't have really high hopes, to be honest.
And then who's your money on for Melbourne next week?
Well, I didn't watch a single minute of testing, so I couldn't tell you, but I don't know which teams are fast, which teams are not fast. But if I had to guess, I'll go with Alonso.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think Aston Martin maybe will be quick this year. I don't know.
Well done, Websy. Good race, man.
All right, cheers.
Yeah, thank you and congratulations to all of our podium finishers who were able to jump in and talk to us tonight. Thank you to all the admins who put the work in behind the scenes, and a special thank you to Botanical Bot making my regularly lonely Monday evenings a bit better not a bit better, quite a bit better by giving me some company. So thank you, Bot. However, that will wrap up stream for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to tune in this time tomorrow and on Wednesday for some more Tier 2 and Tier 3 action. The fight at the top of Tier 2 is one of the closest I've ever seen, and then Tier 3 is not too far off that as well. So make sure you check that out. But as I said, thank you for tuning in tonight. Have a good night and catch you tomorrow.